Okay, good morning, dear peers, dear professor. Today we are going to discuss, to continue our academic writing circle, and this is our fourth meeting. And today we are going to discuss Almaz work. And Almaz, please introduce your thesis, introduce your thesis topic.
Thank you, Dina. Hi, everyone. My thesis is devoted to exploring the readiness of teachers and curriculum for the implementation of STEM programs. And I took as a research site a mainstream school in northern city of our country, and it is a Kazakh language school. So first of all, I made a short literature review analysis, and then based on existing gap in knowledge in this field, I decided to conduct a series of interviews within that school and analyze the documents such as curriculum, lesson plans, and so on. So can you scroll it down, Dina?
Okay.
I will quickly go through the. So this is the background, and the next statement of the problem, and I want to pay your attention to the research questions.
Research questions.
Yes. The purpose. Just a second. Stop here. Stop here. No, a bit upper. Go up. Go up. So the purpose, as I mentioned, the purpose is investigation, the implementation of integrated STEM program at a public school. So there's research. The main question is, could you scroll it down, Dina? To what extent the mainstream school in northern Kazakhstan prepared for the implementation of STEM programs? And sub-questions are the next. What is the school principal's attitude to the implementation of STEM program? What are the secondary school teachers' attitudes to the implementation of advanced STEM programs? And to what extent is the basic curriculum at this mainstream school appropriate for the implementation of STEM programs? So that's it. And I'm looking forward to getting your feedback. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Almaz, because I'm, as a science teacher, I can imagine that it is very hard, how to say, it is very hard to implement the STEM in our educational system, but and I hope that your thesis will help our policymakers to decide what is good. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay, and let's start our academic circle. Dear peers, do you have some recommendation or suggestion in first section? Aygul, Timerlan.
Okay. I have looked through the introduction, and I would like you to clarify what are the constituents of readiness. Have you talked about it in any part? I mean, when we assess the readiness, what we should look at. You mentioned curriculum, you mentioned technology just in one place, and you would like to know opinions, right, of the school principal, as I understand, as a school manager, right, as a person who organizes the process, and school teachers who are actually the central phenomenon, right? Could you please clarify how, maybe in literature, how is it assessed?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, I decided to limit myself in looking only at attitudes of teachers and principals, because of course implementation of STEM needs to develop also infrastructural issues, facilities and so on. But within this work, within this research, I decided to limit myself only on investigating the attitude and document analysis. That's why I mentioned both of them in my research questions.
Thank you, Timirlan. Do you have?
Does it make sense, Aygul? Could I answer the question?
Yes. Did you get any feedback on the topic? Because when I had my thesis, the supervisor advised to change the topic. Like, for instance, like teachers' understanding of implementation of STEM to make it more specific. If you omit some parts like facilities, so probably, I don't know. Of course, I'm not a specialist, and I'd like to know if the supervisor taught anything to you.
Not really, but I think I should discuss it with my supervisor. Thank you for the suggestion. Maybe I should change it, the naming. I should change it to such something like case study or a case of that school, maybe. I clarified. Yeah, I will discuss it with my supervisor. Thanks.
So Almas, I will recommend you to check some your references in the first section. It is the fifth. Yakman and Lee. You use brackets and then you use parentheses. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I see it.
I see. And then,
if I'm not mistaken, you shouldn't use letters like names. Just surname and year.
So.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
I can send you the IP guidelines. I have the printed version, and I will send them it for you. And then, sorry guys, and then you use National STEM Education Strategy, and then STEM. You should use capital letters. It is abbreviation.
Yeah. Thanks. Great point.
And then. Okay.
Could you please stop on introduction?
Okay.
I thought you used here the second and I guess the third paragraph as from a learning perspective. Why was this idea used here? Not from teaching, for example, perspective.
Okay, I got your question. You mean from the perspective of students, right?
Yes. There is a second paragraph.
I'm not sure why I chose this formulation.
Maybe it's from teaching perspective.
No, I wanted to say that in terms of learning something, you know, when you are learning something, you should use these kind of tools. I mean, research-based or inquiry-based learning approaches. I wanted to focus readers' attention to, how to say, to make them feel how it is to be a STEM student. But now it's I agree with you. It seems to me a bit messy. I should clarify it here. Maybe two variants.
Not messy. Just probably if you change it from teachers' perspective, teachers, you know, also hold goals, the same goals, but from a different perspective, not
different angle.
Learning, but teaching them. Yeah, teaching students.
Okay. I'll think about it.
Okay, Timirlan, do you have anything else?
So you, Almas, as I understand, like doing your study, yes, asking, making research in the public school, yes. So all the schools which don't have any privileges, yes, the state schools, and where the curriculum is like is general, Yes, for mainstream, yes, for everyone, like for all the schools can have like access. And do you have any like literature from like other countries, how they implemented, how they were preparing for this implementation of STEM education?
Yeah, I included 2 studies in my literature review from Ireland and Australia. So the similar studies were conducted there in Australia and Ireland some 20 years ago, and I used them as a basis for my practice when I was doing the series of interviews, and I focused on such questions which were discussed when those programs were implemented in Australia and Ireland.
Also about the questions, yes. I remember you said, yes, I remember you said that when you were collecting your data, yes, I must, that you said the same, the answers, yes, the responses that you were awaiting, expecting, is not the same as they are in a real life, yes. For example, what you get from the interviews, is it the same to your like expectation? Like the research questions, did they uncover these like STEM education problems, for example, the implementation, preparedness, in comparison to the other like countries, as you said?
Yeah, I faced some problems in my interviews because mostly teachers wanted to talk about overall general questions, you know. They wanted to talk about salaries, they wanted to talk about the facility stuff, but I need always to get them back into the topic STEM, implementation of STEM. But because of the distance, the interviews were conducted online. That's why I faced some problems with getting responses. And I think, yeah, I told the professor that it would be much better if I just get a ticket, airplane ticket, go to that city for one day and conduct all those interviews. It would be much better. But making them online I was struggling really. But finally, some of them, some interviews were made twice because I got responses and then get back to the discussion and then wanted to focus on the topic. Yeah. Could I answer the question?
Yes. Thank you, Almas. Very good.
Also, Almas, I want to pay your attention.
Sorry, Dina. I want to mention one thing. I was, I faced some problems with interviews, but nevertheless, I could stay within that frame, which I chose before that interviews. Because while taking interviews, I was thinking, maybe I should change the questions, change research questions. Maybe I should change topic. But I was lucky to stay they helped me to stay within that frame.
Okay, and Almas, this recommendation is not related to introduction, but you can discuss and you can describe all these all these issues and challenges during your interviews, during your data collection, in your limitations in conclusion part.
Okay. Yeah.
So just that you expected these answers, but after interviews and because of online meetings, okay, blah blah blah, you can describe this in your conclusion. And then Almas, I will suggest you to check the names of organizations like the Ministry of Science and Education. Just sorry.
I think I forgot the word
Yes,
sign.
the Ministry of Education, here, purpose of the study by the Ministry of Science, of Education and Science of the Republic of Kazakhstan, and then you can put the abbreviation MOES.
Okay, thanks.
And then you can use just only abbreviation. And then maybe Aygul can help with grammar. I don't know.
Have you consulted Grammarly?
Yeah, because Almaz, Timirlan, and Dina, we are science teachers.
I haven't noticed any errors. I just, I think I focused more on the content rather than the format.
But the writing style is the same as mine. Really.
Okay.
We have similar topics.
Concerning research questions, I would personally, I think they are too general. Even sub-questions are too general.
Too general.
Yeah, if I were you, I would ask the questions like in a more specific way. For instance, if it is principal's attitude, then like something related to managing, right? And if it is teacher's attitude, if courses, maybe it's okay. I don't know. Are teachers ready professionally and methodologically the implementation?
And I will recommend to leave this research question, to stay on this research question, but in your findings, you can, how did you divide the attitude, challenges, benefits, or Almaz?
Yeah, I did that. Actually, getting the responses, writing the findings chapter, I divided them into 3 sub parts. I mean, responses.
Because they are reflected in your interview, probably, right?
Because my thesis topic, it is clear implementation in rural areas, and I divided the in 4 categories: it benefits, advantages, then drawbacks, and then challenges, and some recommendation from teachers how to better implement CLIL, like this, 4 sections. Because and then, okay, so Timirlan.
Also about, I don't know, significance. So as a result of the study, yes, as I understand, Almaz, you want like share the result to all the public schools. So the challenges that they face, for example, yes, they can face, and the problems they face, how they can be overcome, yes, how they can overcome by understanding the teachers' like attitude and the perceptions. And the question is, what about like the countries, yes, in which the study has already been, for example, done? What was the significance for the stakeholders? Also, how they supported, for example, researchers in this case, for example, has researcher done the, for example, paper, yes, and then how it was like maybe some changes in curriculum, I don't know, or maybe more courses to the teachers, and it's it.
Actually, I'm not giving any recommendations. My purpose was to find out what kind of problems teachers face in schools face. I mean, mainstream schools, and the significance is about filling that gap, or about the readiness of mainstream schools for the implementation of STEM programs. Because when I looked at the literature, I could find only 1 or 2 resources about STEM, implementation of STEM, and this is a huge gap. And I think if policymakers focus on that issue, and they want to develop some recommendations, they can use such kind of results of research, and because my aim was not to give any recommendation. And looking back into literature review, I mentioned 2 countries, right? Ireland and Australia. And if you just Google Australia STEM, you will get really great amount of works, great amount of research. And of course, this helps policymakers to make any kind of recommendations. And that was my aim. That was my goal. It is too small. It is too small. It's small scale research. And I think giving
how many teachers were interviewed? How many?
6 teachers and 2 leadership team members.
Administration. But they were all yes, they all passed courses about the STEM, yes, STEM courses.
Yes. All of them science teachers.
Good.
I would like to add for the significance, if you remember from courses of research methods, we've been told to mention different stakeholders, including students, parents,
students, parents, societies,
policymakers,
Yes, you mentioned it somewhere, where it was somewhere, but here not in the significance. It was above somewhere, but yes, you can just add a little to the significance about it, about all the stakeholders, like environment maybe.
You could add to the significance, like more clearly, how the identification of maybe gaps, so you ask to what extent the school is ready, and if the answer is positive, the school is ready, then what are the successful features, right? You can share with those who are interested. And if the school is not ready, then what it should be implemented in the curriculum or in preparation of teachers in order to make it ready. So this is the significance, right? So you can reflect it in here in this section.
Thank you. Got it.
Okay.
And lastly, conclusion left, yes.
Conclusion.
For conclusion, just one reminder that you need to introduce the following. You have done it.
Yes, I did it.
Yes, following methodology. And by the way, I think that all 6 chapters should be mentioned, no?
All of them?
Yes.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them should be mentioned, by the way. Yes, I remember because the professor, and I think for all of you also professor mentioned to add all of them, the last 6 chapters. Okay. But
brief description
overall,
of findings chapter, of discussion and conclusion. Okay. It is introduction of your thesis, but you used it is introduction of your research proposal.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time.
Guys, do you remember if we use past tense here or we remain it as a future tense when we introduce the following chapters?
I think it should be past tense.
Past tense?
Yeah, I forgot to change it.
I just don't remember.
But in methodology, we will use past tense methodology because I have done data collection is done.
But I'm not sure about the presentation of the following chapters.
By the way, I used like present simple, present time, and it's okay.
It's okay.
Yes.
I think it's good.
The first chapter describes the second chapter describes
general.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Almas, for your introduction. Thank you, guys, for your help. And so this is the end of our academic writing circle.
I
Thank
hope
you.
it was helpful, Almas. Do you have any other questions?
Exactly. Thank you for your recommendations.
Mhm.